Hey guys, Desolate Magic here, and I was way too busy yesterday to make a video, so we're getting double spoilers today. So first up, we've got the birth of Meletis, which that's obviously not what the art is depicting. That is what happens when you say, oh no, I'm sure Dawn dishwashing liquid would go fine in the laundry. I'm not that stupid, but I've seen pictures. So it's a 2-cost white enchantment, unfortunately only a single devotion, but I mean, sagas come in then leave, so, you know, they're not really the devotion targets. And tick number 1 is search your library for a basic plains card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Not a lot of leeway there, you are going to get a plains. And then the second tick up is create a 0/4 colorless wall artifact creature token with Defender. So, okay, kind of random. And then number 3, you gain 2 life. Just, this is the most random thing I've ever seen. I will say they're all very helpful, but they're a lot more helpful in a draft or a sealed event. So I feel like that's what this is made for, but if you want to go really, really defensive and long-term on a life gain trigger deck, this wouldn't be the worst card to put in, and the ramp is kind of nice. So I mean, pretty good card, but I am wondering, is there another card that'll create the 0/4 wall tokens? Is that going to be like kind of a thing, like a mechanic, or is this like a one-off thing? I kind of hope it doesn't become a thing, but then it will stop Red Rush. So I don't know. Next up, the Cetessans are back, and some of their cards were crazy back in the day. So this is Cetessan Petitioner. It's a 2/2 for 3 double green devotion, which is very much what they do. And it's a human druid. Might get something going there. And whenever it enters battlefield, you gain life equal to your devotion to green, which is an after effect that does consider the card herself. So, I mean, yeah, you're paying 3 for a 2/2, whatever, but if it's a chump blocker and then you gain a bunch of life, that's cool. And I will say, it's better than dropping in something that's double green and just vanilla blah whatever, who cares, you know, just to drive up your count. But it's not better than that by much. Then we've got a foreign card that may be Glimpse of Freedom. This is just an incredibly annoying, pointless, degenerate card, so it costs 2, it's instant speed, and it says draw a card. That's it. It's like they're asking somebody to do some kind of broken Storm Is It crap with this. Oh, and by the way, it has Escape 3 with Exile 5. There's got to be like a card draw trigger mechanic or something. I don't know. I mean, this card is a stupid, pointless waste of time, and the only thing you would ever possibly do with it is, like I said, degenerate crap. Like Storm and spell cloning and just no. Plus, it's a deck shrinker, which is never a good thing. They banned Gitaxian Probe in basically every format ever for a very good reason. There is nothing positive about this card, and there's no reason to have printed it whatsoever. Next up, what the actual hell, they put the Langoliers on a card. And if you haven't seen that movie, it is so far into the so bad it's good territory. I mean, Mr. Toomey is the greatest character in anything ever.
Scaring the little girl!
Yes. Yes, you are. Thanks, Mr. Toomey. So anyway, this is allegedly called Sweet Oblivion, but based on the language barrier and idioms and translation issues, there's very little chance that that's actually what it is. Anyway, it's a 2-cost blue spell, and it says draw 1 card. Just kidding, that's not what it says. Target player puts the top 4 cards of their library into their graveyard, and then escape 4, exile 4. So, probably self-mill. I mean, whatever, I kind of hate that deck already, but whatever. I could make a Langoliers eating the world reference, but I'm just gonna move on.
Scaring the little girl!
Next up, we've got Daxos, Crafter of Wonders. He's a 2/4 for 3 legendary creature, Merfolk Artificer. I do believe we saw him in paper as a leak, but if you tap him, you add 2 colorless, spend this mana only to cast artifact spells or activate abilities of artifacts, so kind of neat. And equipped creatures you control have flying and haste. That's pretty tasty. So I mean, that might be a thing. Next up, Reverend Hoplite. It's a 1/2 for 5, but when he enters the battlefield, you create a number of 1/1 white human soldier creature tokens equal to your devotion to white. Holy crap. So the only problem with this is he's 1 devotion and then the tokens are 0. So if you put him in a white devotion deck, he is going to do nothing to help you out. But I guess I could make the same argument about like an instant spell that is based on devotion. Like, this is how you spend your devotion. This isn't how you build your devotion. Would be nice if it did both, but you know, whatever. I really feel like this should have been on cast, but then if you counter him, you'd still get the tokens. So they need to make something in between, because now, because it's ETB, you could just probably flicker him somehow. Whoopsies. I think Splash Blue, like Unsummon Teferi, is going to be pretty hot with White Devotion, but I don't know. It's a little bit of a stretch. Next up, Chainweb Arachnir, I guess. I'm pretty sure it's an arachnid, but I'll take your word for it. It's a 1-2 for 1 with Reach, which is cool, but isn't going to stop a damn thing. And when it enters battlefield, it deals damage equal to its power to target creature with flying and opponent controls. Yeah, don't we already have this card? And it has Escape 5 with XL4. Oh boy. And then it escapes with 3/1/1 counters on it. So, I mean, that's no joke, but the rest of the card is. They should just print Windstorm again. Anyway, Nessian Boar is next. We've got a 10-6 for 5. What the hell? And all creatures able to block it do so. Pardon me? And whenever Nessian Boar becomes blocked by a creature, that creature's controller draws a card. Okay, I knew there had to be a balance for the crazy. This just went from basically top 10 creature in the history of the game to absolute suicide. Now, unopposed in a black-white kill deck, oh my gosh. But it doesn't have trample, it doesn't have haste, and the whole point of everybody able to block this is that a different creature gets through. That said, Simic Cloner, Simic Ramp, are you kidding me? Like, this isn't legendary, even if it was Spark Double, which that card really seriously never should have been printed. Yeah, I really don't like anything about this. It's just a huge gamble, and if you lose to it, you're going to be pissed, and if you lose because of it, you're going to be pissed. It just, once again, should not have been designed, should not have been printed. I'm sure they're all patting themselves on the back. This is such a Mark Rosewater card, saying, oh, look how creative we are. Look at this amazing new thing. Yeah, but nobody wants it. Nobody wants to play against it. Nobody wants to play with it. So, whoopsies. Next up, allegedly those 4 characters just say return. I doubt it. Like, I don't know any Asian languages, but that just seems like a lot of characters for return. I'm just saying, unless they like spelled it out, which actually maybe they did. This is Chinese traditional. Anyway, this is a 5-cost spell. I bet I know what it does just by looking at the name and the art, but it says sorcery, choose one or both, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield, and then return target aura card from the graveyard to the battlefield. Fantastic, and you can do them in that order. Yeah, I mean, just the 5-cost fancy resurrect with a different color added, and it includes auras. I mean, nothing too special. I never did like this mechanic because you can summon completely broken shit with it, but whatever, they keep printing it, so I guess they'll never learn. This is literally just free casting. You guys realize that, right? It's free casting with more steps. You know, because Fires of Invention and Aetherworks Marvel were so popular. I mean, yeah, they were both banned for breaking the game completely and utterly at a basic level, but I'm sure there's nothing wrong with getting shit onto the battlefield that you didn't have to pay for. Anyway, next up we've got Pharika's Spawn, or Pharika, I don't know. Who knows? Who cares? I don't even know who she is. Anyway, it's a 3/4 for 4. It's a Gorgon, and it has Escape, so it's a vanilla creature, but with Escape 6, with Exile 3. And when it escapes with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. When it enters the battlefield this way, each opponent sacrifices a non-Gorgon creature. So, absolute just filler nonsense. Until it dies and then you bring it back, which, I mean, 6 is a lot, and 3 cards is, not always doable. So this is pretty bad, but it would be pretty darn good in draft or sealed, once again. I'm skipping 2 that were date stamped wrong, Indomitable Will and Nyxborn Cursor, because we've already seen them, and the artwork is the original camera snapshot from like a month ago. So don't know how or why those jumped up in the queue, but not really in chronological order here, and I've already covered them. So next up, actually, we've got Warden of the Chained. He's a 4/4 for 3, and Gruel colors, watch out. Minotaur Warrior, watch out. Trample, double watch out. And it can't attack unless you control another creature with power 4 or greater. Oh, I love unreliable cards that are only 1 bigger than they should be, and that's the offset. I just love it when 1 kill spell shuts down 2 of my creatures. That's awesome. Thanks. Next up, oh, you know it, Banishing Light, hell to the yes. If you're playing white and you're not playing this card, you will lose, period, the end. Play this card. It costs 3 and it exiles anything. Play the damn card. Next up, Ashy Larry's Erasure, and I think we've already seen this one too, so screw it, I'm going past it. Next up, we've got Blue Trosh, Aspirant. Yep, that's German. So it's a 1/1 for 2, Satyr, of course. And it says, whenever you sacrifice a permanent, put a 1/1 counter on Blood Aspirant. Oh, good. Another one of those for Rakdos cats. And if you pay 2 and tap it, you can sack a creature or enchantment, and then Blood Aspirant deals 1 damage to target creature. That creature can't block this turn. Okay, so now they're going to have to ban the cat instead of the cauldron because of this bullshit. Great. Rakdos death triggers, sack triggers is really annoying right now, and this is the last damn thing it needed, so great. Next up, Arasta of Endless Webs. A lot of just underpowered garbage reach spiders in this set, which has never taken off ever in any set that I've ever seen. So cool. Not that green needed help right now. It is a double devotion though. Green card costs 4/3/5 with reach, nice. And whenever an opponent casts an instant or sorcery spell, create a 1/2 green spider creature token with reach. Oh, that might be some sideboard fun right there. That's pretty funny. I would love to punish some like Esper shutdown bullshit with this. This would just be too funny. That or Is It, although I feel like Is It would just like, I don't know, blow everything up or whatever. I kind of like this card. It's like a backwards Murmuring Mystics. Next up, Tectonic Giant, which honestly looks like some 8-year-old raging after he lost at Fortnite. But anyway, it's a double devotion 3/4 for 4 elemental giant, so maybe a little something there. And whenever Tectonic Giant attacks or becomes the target of a spell an opponent controls, choose one. First, Tectonic Giant deals 3 damage to each opponent. Okay. Or exile the top 2 cards of your library, choose one of them until end of turn, or until the end of your next turn, you may play that card. Play it, not cast it. Play it. So that includes lands. Kind of odd considering it's more common for green cards to use that phrasing and red cards to use the term cast, but it's not like a complete color break, not like everything else in this set. So, I mean, this is pretty good. I think it would slot in as like a 1 or 2 of in like an elemental deck. Next up, Nyx Herald. It's a 2/3 Centaur Shaman for 3, and it's an enchantment, of course. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, target enchanted creature or enchantment creature you control gets +1/+1 against trample until end of turn. So that's just do nothing. There it is. So you could hit a lot of targets with that, but then again, outside the set, you are going to whiff a lot. So in the right deck, it's good, and in the wrong deck, it's not. And then this also isn't High Devotion, so does it really work with this set? Not very well. Next up, the Hippocamp is back. Here we go. It's a horse-fish subtype, and it's a Wavebreak Hippocamp. So it's a 2/2 for 3. Whenever you cast your first spell during each opponent's turn, draw a card. What did you just say? Hey, wizards. F*** you. That is what I think of this card. My official stance on this card is F*** you, wizards. Well, put that one on the game-ruining shit list. Anyway, next up we've got a mythic. It's Polukranos Unchained. It's a 4-cost 0/0, so we're already off to the races. And it enters the battlefield with 6 1/1 counters on it. It escapes with 12 1/1 counters on it instead, which probably should have been under escape. Like, why did they break the format? That's weird. And if damage would be dealt to it while it has a 1/1 counter on it, prevent that damage and remove that many 1/1 counters from it. So a shrinky Hydra. Cool. And then if you pay 3, it fights another target creature. So it can do that as many times as it wants, but every time it does, it will take damage. Unless you cast God's Willing on it, then you can just go on an absolute rampage. And it has Escape 6, Exile 6. Well, this is going to be annoying to kill twice. So next up, it's Nylea's Intervention, which may be a reprint. This sounds really familiar. It's double green and then X, and you choose one. Search your library for up to X land cards. Reveal them. Put them into your hand, then shuffle your library. Or it deals twice X damage to each creature without flying. Okay, that doesn't sound familiar. I think I'm thinking of Nissa's Intervention. So yeah, you can drop the absolute nuke. The ironic part is that one of green's color identity things is that it doesn't have flyers. It's not like it has 0, but it has pretty damn close. So that's unfortunate. It's also unfortunate that this has nothing to do with devotion. That's kind of odd. I will say though, that land dump is crazy. But they go to your hand, not the battlefield, so it's a fairly fair card. Next up, Final Death. Oh boy, it's a 5-cost instant, and it just says exile target creature. It's a common, it's meant for draft, whatever. Next up, Drag to the Underworld. It's a 4-cost, and we got Erebos whipping somebody into the underworld, nice. And it's an instant, and the spell costs X less to cast, where X is your devotion to black. Oh, neat. So, in other words, it costs 2. And it says destroy target creature. So honestly, if this is a rare, it would probably be like a $10 rare. I mean, have you looked up the price of Go for the Throat? I would still say that that is the king of reliability, but this one's pretty darn good. So I mean, yeah, we kind of needed like a semi-conditional, semi-unreliable 2-cost kill spell. So I like this. Next up, Stinging Lionfish. It's a 2/1 for 2, and whenever you cast your first spell during each opponent's turn, you may tap or untap target non-land permanent. Wow, that is pretty So with one of Blue's major mechanics, they are encouraging degenerate counterspell spamming draw-go bullshit. I'm sure that won't backfire. Idiots working at Wizards. Seriously. They need to get a clue. Next up, Archons are back. We got Archon of the Falling Stars. Unfortunately, this is an uncommon Archon. Boy, that's a demotion. It's a 4/4 for 6, but double white devotion, which, I mean, at 6, you might as well just throw in the extra one. Come on. And it's flying, and whenever it dies, you may return target enchantment card from your graveyard directly to the battlefield. That's enchantment card, so creature, aura, or direct enchantment. Still, a 4/4 flyer for 6 isn't that great, but 4 damage in the air, like, kind of is, and then if they manage to blow it up, then cool, bring back something else. It's kind of neat, but it's kind of like borderline playable. And if you just look at it in a vacuum, you're like, yeah, okay, all right. But then if you look at it, like, compared to other things that cost 6, pathetic. And that is it. So it is a real shame that today would indicate that they're going with, hey, cast some shit during your opponent's turn. So bounce back to hand, flash garbage, and counterspells, which I believe all 3 of those are 3 separate decks that people are playing right now, and all of them are incredibly annoying. So now they're going to reward you with free card draw. Are you kidding me? And a tap-untap ability for permanence. Such unbelievable absolute bullshit. In fact, that untap ability is going to be crazy with the new Lotus. That is so completely beyond unacceptable. I can't believe that anybody at Wizards would be stupid enough to approve that and then get it through playtesting. Unbelievable. And then not a damn word of it is tied to devotion. So you could run this in a 3-color Esper deck. Just a disgrace. That's what it is. An absolute slap in the face to the standard meta. And decent, fun, fair gameplay. I cannot believe it. Make sure if you follow any of these absolute morons on social media, you express your displeasure, because if hundreds and hundreds of people do it, maybe they'll get a fucking clue. Because it keeps saying that they listen to the community, but it's just ass kissers on Reddits and a bunch of bullshit they hear from the pros. They need to hear from the real people, okay? And they need to hear from large numbers of real people before the set even launches. And when they're like, wait a minute, we just banned this card because of this deck archetype like 6 months later or whatever. Didn't a bunch of people complain about this before it even came out? How did this many people knew that it would be problematic? Do they know something I don't? Am I approaching playtesting and R&D from the wrong perspective? Do I need to put in more effort or just more closely study what people don't like? The answer is yes, and they need to learn this. What they really need to do is get fired, but I think we all know that's not going to happen. So yeah, this is just aggravating. Absolutely aggravating. I mean, it's going to ruin standard for months until they fix it. We all know this. So I'm ready to basically mentally jump ship on this set after today's spoilers. So thanks for that, Wizards. F you too, and I'll see you guys next video.